Have you ever looked in the mirror after an exhausting day with a heavy mind and a tired body and wondered, where is the return on all my dedication? You nurture, you care, you create, you solve. But when it's time to feel secure and abundant, your bank account seems to tell a different story. What if I told you that money isn't this masculine energy of struggle and conquest that we were taught to chase? What if, instead, money is a feminine energy, like water, fluid, intuitive, responsive, a sacred current that flows to those who are ready to receive? This ancient truth, once lived by a visionary woman, Frida Kahlo, is the key to awakening the goddess of abundance within you. Stay with me, because today we will heal our relationship with receiving and invite prosperity to make a home in our lives. Since we were little girls, we were taught to be good, not to ask for too much, to feel guilty for wanting more. We were thrown into a culture of conquest and constant effort, a world that forgot to honor our cyclical, intuitive nature. And without realizing it, we closed our energy field to the simple act of receiving. But Frida didn't wait for her body to heal before she began painting. She didn't wait for the perfect moment. She painted between pain and tears, and with every brushstroke, she declared silently, "I deserve to exist in color." And so do you, not because of what you do, but because of who you are, because of the divine spark that lives within you. Abundance is not born from rushing, but from permission. And the first space that must open is your mind. Each time you say, "I can't," or "I'm not enough," you close a window in your inner home. But when you whisper, "I trust the flow of life, I am open to receive," the universe opens doors where before there were only walls. Maybe this is your invitation right now, to let the armor fall, release the inherited beliefs, and return to your natural state of worthiness. Because prosperity isn't just about having, it's about being a channel. It's about dancing with life's rhythm without fear of shining too brightly. Pact 1. Embrace what comes. Imagine for a moment that money is alive, a sacred visitor crossing time and space to reach you. She arrives with flowers in her hands, smiling, bringing the fruits of your devotion, your effort, your dedication. But how do you receive her? Do you welcome her with joy, or do you rush to push her away, saying, "It barely arrived and it's already gone"? Money is energy, and energy loves to be well received. Think of Clara, a woman who worked hard every day, but every time her salary arrived, guilt spoke louder. This should go to the house, the kids, the bills. She never paused to honor her own effort, until one day she changed. When she received, she placed her hand on her heart and said, "I receive you with joy. I honor you, and I allow you to flourish in my life." And something shifted. The money began to stay, and more than that, peace began to grow. Just like Frida embraced pain and turned it into art, you can embrace money and turn it into expansion. Because it didn't come to control you, it came to serve you, to remind you that you deserve a prosperous and peaceful life. So every time money enters your life, receive it as an old friend. Offer it a coffee. Say softly, "I was waiting for you. Thank you for trusting me." Because abundance doesn't bloom in a rush. It blossoms in welcome. Now breathe, hand over your heart, and repeat with me. I receive you with joy. I honor you, and I allow you to flourish in my life. All energy that is well received chooses to stay. Have you ever noticed how sometimes this simple act of paying a bill awakens fear, tension, or even guilt? As if by letting that money go, you were losing a part of yourself? But what if I told you that paying is also an act of creation, a silent gesture of trust in the flow of life? When you pay a bill, the rent, a subscription, you're not just transferring money. You're telling the universe, I trust in the cycle of giving and receiving. I release this energy with gratitude because it has already served me, and now it returns to the flow so that the new can be born. Paying is not losing. It's allowing the river to keep running. It's the sea pulling back, not because it's over, but because it's preparing to return with greater force. Frida Kahlo understood this. She lost so much: loves, health, dreams, but she never lost faith in the flow of creation. They broke her body, but they couldn't break her spirit. She painted through pain and tears. She painted what hurt, what bled, what burned. And while she turned her pain into color, the universe turned her wounds into art. Frida didn't wait for the perfect moment. She created beauty amidst chaos. She gave birth to life within her pain. And maybe that's what money teaches us, when it comes and when it goes. Because money, like art, is only energy in motion. It needs to flow to stay alive. When we hold it in fear, when we cling to it out of desperation, it hardens, it dries, like paint forgotten on a palette. But when we let it go with love, when we pay something with presence and gratitude, it turns into fresh paint, ready to create new colors on the canvas of our lives. I remember the first time I truly did this. For years, paying my college tuition felt like a burden. I would take a deep breath, look at my balance, and feel a tightness in my chest. But one day, I decided to do it differently. Before confirming the payment, I whispered softly, "Thank you," because this amount brought me knowledge, gave me opportunities, made me grow. That same week, a friend returned some money I'd forgotten I'd lent, and in that moment, I understood. The universe honors our trust. Abundance is like a sacred breath. You inhale and receive. You exhale and give. The problem is, so many of us try to live only inhaling, accumulating, retaining, afraid to let go. But even air must leave so that the new can enter. The same is true for money, love, opportunities, and faith. Nothing flows through clenched fists. Everything expands through open hands. The act of paying, a bill, a coffee, a ticket, can be a sacred ritual of gratitude, a silent reminder that you have something to give, that the flow is alive within you. Next time you make a payment, don't just click confirm automatically. Take a deep breath, smile, and say, I release this energy with love. I trust that it returns multiplied, under divine grace and in wonderful ways. And then, let it go. allow the universe to do its work. Frida used to say, "I paint my own reality." And maybe, in some way, you're painting yours too. With every choice, every offering, every act of faith. Paying is part of the painting. It's the color you give to the canvas, so new colors can emerge. Because deep down, life doesn't want to punish you with loss, but to teach you how to dance with the flow. Scarcity is the old, dried paint. Abundance is the living paint that creates. And to use it, you must release it. Just as Frida turned pain into beauty, you can turn fear into trust, spending into gratitude, debt into wisdom, and money into a symbol of faith. So today, when you release something, a sum, an emotion, a memory, ask yourself, with what energy am I offering this? Because the way you give determines what returns. If you give with fear, you receive scarcity. If you give with gratitude, you receive abundance. The universe is a mirror, and everything you give.
Have you ever noticed how there's a kind of silence within us? A silence that speaks of who we were and who we're ready to become? For so long, we were taught to beg for help, to believe that power lived outside of us, in the hands of someone who would come to save us. But begging only reinforces the energy of the damsel in distress, and we are no longer damsels. We are queens. We are priestesses of our own destiny. The awakened woman does not beg. She aligns with her innate power, with the force that lives in her womb, her heart, and her intuition. Because within each of us lives a Frida, the one who paints with a broken body but an unbroken spirit, the one who turns pain into art, wounds into flowers, and falls into rebirth. Frida didn't wait for life to be kind before she began to create. She didn't wait for her wounds to heal before expressing herself. She simply picked up the brush and let her soul speak. And that's what the feminine soul does when it awakens. It stops asking for permission and begins to manifest. Frida once said she painted flowers so they would not die. But what she was truly doing was painting herself so she would never forget who she was. And what are we painting? Which colors are we using to draw our destiny? Perhaps, out of fear, we've been trying to dim our own light. Perhaps we've been fighting too hard. But the moon doesn't fight to shine. She simply reflects the light of the sun. So it is with prosperity. It doesn't come when we fight, control, or beg. It comes when we allow ourselves to reflect the infinite light of the source. When we stop chasing what is already ours by divine right and simply remember who we are. Place your hand over your heart. Feel the warmth that pulses within you now. And repeat with truth and presence, I am the beloved daughter of the universe. And all the abundance of the kingdom is mine by birthright. I now align myself with the flow of divine prosperity, which fills and overflows through me in magical and perfect ways. Feel it, because this affirmation is not just a phrase, it's an act of remembrance, a return to your original power. Prosperity is not something you conquer, it's something you embody. It's born when you understand that worthiness is not proven, it's remembered. Frida loved Diego Rivera with the force of a hurricane. It was love, storm, and eternity. A cracked mirror where beauty and destruction danced side by side. And still, she said, to love is a form of resistance. Because love isn't always sweet. Sometimes it's the fire that purifies, the flame that forces us to choose what stays and what must go. And in the midst of ruins, she chose to keep creating. She chose to live twice, once in the flesh and once on the canvas. And that's what we do when we choose to bloom, even when we're tired. We live twice, once for survival and once for the soul. The world tries to convince us that we must fight for love, for money, for attention. But the moon teaches us it's not about fighting, it's about reflecting. You don't need to compete for light, you are the light. You don't need to beg for prosperity, you are prosperity in human form. Everything that is yours is simply waiting for your yes, your allowing. So instead of begging, align. Instead of running, trust. Instead of asking, receive. Feel the flow, the same one that moves the seas, the moons, and the wombs. The energy that never lacks, never fails. You are the channel, the bridge between the visible and the invisible. And all the universe wants is to express itself through you. So tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself, what within me still begs when it could simply align? In what part of my life am I denying my divine right to receive? And remember, you are a daughter of the moon, the one who grows, wanes, and becomes full, but never stops being whole. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and declare with faith, I am the living and sacred expression of the universe. All that is good and prosperous belongs to me by divine right. I now open myself to receive, without guilt, without fear, without hesitation. The moon does not fight to shine. She simply reflects the light that is already hers. And so it is with prosperity. It merely reflects the light of your soul. You were not born to beg. You were born to remember who you are, to remember what is already yours, and to remember that the universe always responds in the same frequency as your heart.
Pact 4. Honor your ritual of creation. Imagine there is a secret garden inside you, a place where every thought is a seed, every emotion is a flower that either blooms or withers. This garden reflects your self-love, and sometimes it needs care, silence, light, because self-love is not born in the scream, it blossoms in presence. Today, I invite you to a ritual of sacred nourishment, a simple yet powerful gesture, the altar ritual. Your purse, your wallet, they are not just objects. They are portable altars, spaces where the energy of your prosperity rests, your autonomy, your trust in the flow of life. Before leaving home, look at it, clean it, organize it, and softly say, may this space be a magnet for blessings, beauty, and abundance today. If there is money, give thanks. If there isn't, give thanks as well. For emptiness is simply the space ready to be filled. Gratitude is the language the universe understands. And as you walk through life, remember, your altar moves with you. Every gesture can be an act of blessing, every breath a silent request for expansion. Now, I want you to think of a woman who understood this deeply. Frida Kahlo, a woman who transformed her own body, broken, stitched, reconstructed, into a living canvas. She painted through pain and tears. She painted with rage, with love, with fire. And even when life confined her to bed, she said, "Feet, what do I need you for if I have wings to fly?" Frida's body was the stage of her battles. Surgeries, fractures, limitations, but she turned them into a manifesto. She never apologized for her colors, nor for her flowers, nor for her brow. She owned herself completely. Now, imagine if Frida had doubted her gift. Imagine if she had thought, painting is a luxury. Investing in myself is frivolous. The world would have lost its magic. How many of us, women, creators, seekers, have felt guilty for investing in something we love, for buying a book, a course, a dress that makes our hearts vibrate? But what is self-love if not the courage to recognize yourself as a temple? Frida taught us this: honor your tools, even the ones that tremble in your hands, whether brushes, a notebook, a laptop, a camera. Bless them. Tell them, you are the tools of my resurrection. When you bless what you use, you bless what you create. And when you bless what you create, you invite the universe to create with you. Now, take a deep breath, grab a piece of paper, a pen, and prepare for the ritual of the letter to the universe. It's not just writing, it's an invocation. It's the moment you say, I am ready to bloom. Begin by writing, Dear Universe, and then let your heart speak. Give thanks for the blessings that have already arrived. Give thanks for those that are still on their way. Tell what you wish to manifest, but tell it with love, not with longing, with faith, not with haste. Write as if you were planting, each word a seed. Speak of what you wish to feel: lightness, prosperity, freedom, love, healing. The universe does not read confused intentions. It reads clear vibrations. And when you finish, read your letter out loud. Feel the power of your words moving through the air. Then fold the paper carefully. Place it inside your purse or wallet, your portable altar, and say, I surrender. I trust. I receive. You don't need to understand how the universe will act. You only need to allow it, because everything asked with love finds its way back to you. Remember, self-love is not vanity. It is alchemy. It is the act of turning the ordinary into sacred, of looking at chaos and choosing to bloom anyway. And when doubt comes, and it will, remember Frida. Remember the woman who painted her pain and turned her scars into art. Each morning, touch your purse and say, I am the altar. I am the temple. I am the channel of divine abundance. And then, write again if you wish, because every letter you send to the universe is also a letter you send to yourself. The love you write is the love that returns. The garden you cultivate within is the one that blooms outside.
Have you ever noticed that in the end, this conversation with money is really a conversation with yourself. It's about healing the wound of unworthiness that so many of us carry from our mothers and grandmothers. It's about giving yourself permission to receive, to be cared for, to bloom without guilt. Your financial reality is the mirror of your relationship with yourself. If the reflection shows struggle, the healing isn't outside, it's within. Love yourself, value yourself, nurture yourself, and the mirror will have no choice but to reflect a life of beauty and abundance. This is a journey back home to your essence. Be gentle with yourself. There will be days of doubt. But each time you choose self-love over fear, you water the seeds of your new reality. Your awakening ritual begins now. Take any money or a card you have. Hold it close to your heart. Take a deep breath and say with presence and truth, I see you. I honor you. I open myself to receive you into my life. I am worthy. Feel this permission filling your entire being. Now, let's create a current of feminine power, a true circle of women. Declare in the comments, I awaken the goddess of abundance within me. And share, which of the 4 pacts will you begin to practice today? Let's inspire and strengthen one another. If this message resonated with your soul, honor this connection with your like and join our sisterhood by subscribing to the channel. Remember, you are abundance itself, and the universe is always listening.